Prime Minister Modi visited the Kargil War Memorial today to mark the occasion of the 25th anniversary of the Kargil Vijay Diwas and paid homage to war heroes. On this day in the year 1999, India outed Pakistani forces from their occupied positions on the mountain tops of northern Kargil district in Ladakh. On this day, the X account named Modi Archived shared rare photos and audio clips of Prime Minister Modi's support for the soldiers back in 1999. The social media thread, titled as A Pilgrimage of a Lifetime, describes Prime Minister Modi's experience visiting the battlefield and the lessons he learned talking to the war heroes there. During the war, he was a General Secretary of the Bharatiya Janata Party and was one of those who used to transport essential items to the soldiers. In 1999, he boarded a Mi-17 helicopter laden with essential supplies for the soldiers while the war was still raging on. He had the chance to speak with the soldiers who had been fighting while conversing with the soldiers. He came to know that they have given the credit to then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee for a strong leadership. This in turn showed Prime Minister Modi how strong political leadership can inspire soldiers to be brave and make great sacrifices as well. During one of his visits, he also met the wounded soldiers in the war in the army hospital in Srinagar. He met a soldier who had lost both arms and legs to a mine explosion. The soldier told him that he had not felt any pain since hearing the news of Tiger Hill's capture. Another intriguing incident described in the social media thread is that of Prime Minister's interaction with over 150 soldiers across Kargil, Srinagar and Udhampur. He asked all of them about their native places, intending to, know about their stories and messages to their families back home. However, the soldiers did not respond with the names of their villages or towns, but proudly mentioned the names of their battlefronts, which were Dras, Batalik and Kargil. He recalled in an interview with a magazine later a crucial lesson that he had learned back then, and it was that the opposition won't hesitate to politicize national security. Back then, the BJP was in power and opposition parties called for a special Rajya Sabha session during the middle of the Kargil war to allegedly criticize the armed forces. The social media thread also mentioned that in the interview, Prime Minister Modi pointed out how political interest during such a critical time was unfortunate. He reminded everyone how Atalji, despite being in the opposition, fully supported Indira Gandhi during the 1971 war. Even in today's address, Prime Minister Modi launched a scathing attack at the opposition and claimed that they don't care for the armed forces. He accused the opposition of playing politics over the Agniveer scheme. The social media page has also released an old audio clip of Prime Minister Modi. Let's listen in to that and also to the Prime Minister's remarks today.
जरा करगिल ने लड़ाई चालती थी, मने पर करगिल ने धरती पर जवानों सौभाग्य मळ्યું હતું. 18,000 ફૂટની ઊંચાઈ પર રક્તથી લથપથ વીર જવાનોના શરીરોની વચ્ચે ઉભા રહીને ભારત માની આ વીરતાને સલામ કરવાનો આનંદ એક અદ્ભુત અનુભૂતિ હતી મારા જીવનની.
आज लद्दाख की ये महान धरती कारगिल विजय के 25 वर्ष पूरे होने की साक्षी बन रही है. कारगिल विजय दिवस हमें बताता है कि राष्ट्र के लिए दिए गए बलिदान अमर होते हैं.
All right, joining us to talk more about this is Major General J.K. Bansal, defense expert. Brigadier Rajan Jamwal, defense expert, also joins us on the show. Mr. Alok Mehta, editorial director of India News, is with us on the program as well. Mr. Himanshu Bhatt, senior journalist, also with us on the show. General Bansal, I'll begin with you, sir. I hope you can hear me. Thank you for joining us, sir. It's been 25 years to that successful victory, but lest we forget that victory came with a heavy price. That victory came with a heavy lesson. As you look back on a quarter of a century of the Kargil war, going India's way, where do we stand today in terms of what we gained, what we lost, and what we learned from this battle or this war?
Uh, Good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting me on your channel. The gain is very obvious. We won this war, and the loss, of course, there was a loss of life. We lost 527 soldiers and 1363 casualties were there. And of course, this was a wake-up call. We learned a lesson. Lesson in the sense, the most important lesson is that we have to have very strong intelligence. There was a failure of intelligence at the time, and that is how it happens. And secondly, it was believed that yes, the Pakistan will not have any incursion over there because that there was a agreement, Simla agreement, and it was decided that yes, that area will not be occupied by any of the forces. But Pakistan betrayed, and similarly after that, of course, we learned. But we learned at that time, but we are not implementing fully in the sense that in 2020, the similar mistake of intelligence failure occurs in eastern Ladakh where the Chinese came and then we had the Galwan incidents. Likewise, even now as itself there are intrusion in the J&K, that was also in this failure of intelligence. Intelligence failure can occur. Big agencies, very famous agency like Mossad, there was intelligence failure when the 7th October incidents happens over there. But we have to learn and be vigilant all the time. The human intelligence as well as this equipment oriented by UAV has to be very, very perfect. Secondly, we have to be prepared all the time, and we should not withdraw our troops from a particular place as it happens now in Jammu and Kashmir after mobilization of troops from there to Ladakh sector. This terrorists, they entered, and now our armed forces are fighting it. We are having casualties also. So these lessons are to be learned. Secondly, there has to be a great integration between all the forces, Air Force, Navy, and Army. In Kargil case, of course, Army and Air Force. After that, it was decided that there will be a theatre command and a post of Chief of Defence Staff was made so that there could be better coordination. So one more important and most important factor for the high altitude war. The war was fought at nearly 18 to 20,000 feet height, and soldier cannot go directly over there. There has to be acclimatization. Between 9,000 to 12,000, there is the first stage of acclimatization where one has to acclimatize, remain, and do some limited activity between 4 to 5 days. Then between 12 to 15,000 and 15,000 to 18,000. Likewise, the acclimatization is very important. Then only a soldier can fight for anybody for that matter can stay. Otherwise, it is very difficult. And so all these factors has to be kept in mind at all the time. Our troop has to be a particular height so that even on that particular height, if they are in different place, but if they are they can be mobilized. But anybody from the plane or any troops cannot be moved from the plane. So there are the certain lessons which have been learned. Of course, after that, we have increased our infrastructure in the form of bridge, roads, tunnels, airstrips, so that there could be fast mobilization of equipment, weapons as well as troops. So there had been some, there has been some increase in budget, but it needs to be increased more. You know, we are having about $80 billion budget, while China is having $300 billion, America is $900 billion, and Russia, whose economy is less than us, and they are having $109 billion. So there is need to increase. And there is a need to increase the manpower also, because during COVID time there has been the less enrollment of army or the Jawans in the army. So there is a deficiency in nearly about 2 lakh people, because every year 60,000 are to be enrolled. So that has to be, because men is very, very important. You can see now in Russia and Ukraine, we have to learn lesson from there also. They are finding difficulty for recruitment. The people are not getting recruited over there. They are using missionaries and national. They are doing this. While in our country, the youth, they are willing to join on. There are certain things, certain corrective measures which we have to take, And of course, we always salute our martyrs, but at the same time, it is very, very important to implement the lesson learned, which we all the time that we remember those, but lesson learned are very important, and we can openly point out whatever shortcomings are there so that we can complete it. Yes.
Brigadier Jamwal, what are your memories of Kargil? Obviously, this is not the first war that we have fought with Pakistan, and the proxies that they continue to send our way is also a kind of a battle that India wakes up to fight on a daily basis. But what are your memories and recollections of what happened in 1999 and how Indian soldiers, through their grit, through their valor and through their determination, were able to ward off an enemy which only believes in duplicity and indecency?
It was a war of young soldiers, young officers, young soldiers, sheer grit, domination, and they wrote history with their blood. I mean, it is annals in the world's, not only in India, the world's military history, when people went into battle at those altitudes, even when unacclimatized, just inducted, and for the spirit. Now, there's a lot of thing now. Why do men fight? Men fight and willingly give up for the simple thing, it is a comradeship. It is for your actual own, you don't want to be let down in front of your men, let down in front of your comrades. That is what keeps everybody going. And they're prepared to throw everything. I mean, not that nobody remembers the families back home. Everybody remembers everything. But still, you are doing to willingly sacrifice everything because you don't want to let down your own comrades, your own friends, and your own country. That is what keeps you going. That said, what is happening now? Again, you said, okay, there's a lot of infiltration now happening, and see, this is not the first time it has happened. It has happened in the past. It will happen again. The Prime Minister sent a clear message. Okay, this will be replied back, and I'm sure it will be replied back in good measure. But the fact is, the force grid which we maintain has been always a dynamic grid. Dynamic means you keep moving as per the situation. It is never a fixed kind of a grid like you have permanent police stations, the thing. No, it's never like that. So in the dynamics of the situation, things got denuded in one sector, that is the Jammu sector, and people moved to this thing. Not that it was totally denuded. What should have been done was, if the force structures were denuded, some other measures should have been taken to keep the intelligence structure intact. Because generally the intelligence grid rides on the force grid. The moment you denude a force, the intelligence grid by and large dries up. So somebody else should have manned in those areas, even if rather totally blacking out, some kind of a force grid should have been maintained. And further, some more technology should have been inducted to, replace the force which has get. Unfortunately, that was not done. There was an issue about the Kargil committee reports, other thing, except for the CDS thing which came again after 20 years. I see none of the recommendations anywhere close. You suddenly need the theaterization of your intelligence. The thing. I mean, along with your force theaterization, your intelligence theaterization. Now, for the same source, the same information you find, multiple agencies working, and there is interstate rivalry and all, which the nation can ill afford. We need one commander for one theater, for especially the intelligence operations. And I'm sure government is working on it. It will come through that. We need proper border management authorities. Now, everything is by and large ad hoc. Neither the state government is fully responsible, neither the government of India is fully responsible. So it's an ad hoc mixture of between so-called coordination between some state authorities and central authorities, which doesn't work. We need dedicated border management authorities which are working to a plan. For one border, there should be one authority, and then an apex body at the center, which is controlling all the border management. You see the problem of the land, why the people are getting settled. All these issues are intricated with the terrorism. This thing. So the border management has to be part of the overall your response system. And I'm sure somebody would be working on it, and we may hear something about it in days to come.
Mr. Himanshu Bhatt, how do you look at, of course, the Kargil Divas is an emotional moment for the entire country, but the fact of the matter is that both the sides have put out their respective thoughts or complaints or concerns or reservations about the politicization of the lives of our soldiers. Is that something which is ever going to stop? Because, one way or the other, it's not the politician who is fighting at the border, it's the soldier. They need to, in fact, stop vicariously empathizing with the soldiers and, do whatever they can to make their life and perhaps their professional life better.
Yes, yes. I'll tell you, Kargil Vijay Diwas 25th anniversary should be a very good wake-up call for our political parties. Because that time, if you remember, we used to have those Aman Ki Ashas. That time, Prime Minister went with a bus to Lahore. And at the back of it, you had General Musharraf coming and making this, army people sit on the hills of Dras and Batalik and Kargil, in the guise of Kabalis. They were all bloody Pakistani. I'm sorry to use this word, but they were all Pakistani regulars. We had to fight and we had to pay a very heavy price. Gone in the wind, the bitter lessons, I would say, that government learned in 1999 after achieving this victory was, gone in the wind was this Aman Ki Asha. Still people keep on talking about it. See, the best part is that opposition did not wait to collect the dead bodies of the Kabalis who were dead. Those who were saying, they were Kabalis, but they were real Pakistani army regulars. You ask for military people, they will tell you. Major General Balsal is here. He will also vouch with me in this. The problem here is, what you said is right. It's a soldier that fights. But it's the politicians who govern them, who try to govern them. And we learn our lessons bitterly. On the 25th anniversary, I wish the politicians learn that lesson. Yes, now the government is doing right, that you cannot trust parties at any cost. If we are not going to learn from the Kargil experience, we are never going to learn. It's all right. We say we don't talk, we don't trade with you as long as terrorism goes on. But what are we doing to stop that? The incidents of Jammu, both my predecessors were talking about it. Incidents of Jammu happened what? The troops moved to Ladakh. With them went the intelligence. Because the intelligence system, the network which they set up in Jammu, also gone with them. There could have been, in last 5-6 months, there could have been some sort of a replacement. Indo-Tibetan border police, or anyone for that matter. And the things would have been in control. But it's not happening because they again started thinking this is not going to be dangerous in Jammu. See, that complacency. And somewhere down the line, the pressure from the opposition. That opposition that still wants that Aman Ki Asha. With Pakistanis, you are not going to have that Aman Ki Asha ever. Because you cannot basically trust them. You will sell them tomatoes, you will sell them potatoes, you will send them medicines, but still they will send them terrorists. That is what the trade action they will do with you. And they have been doing from 75 years. And still our governments, if they are not going to learn, well, they are going to learn never. And this is what Narendra Bhai exactly knows. Because he was the one who was in charge of Himachal Pradesh at the time of 1999. He was organizing this Kargil Jawans work on the back door. And I have seen him work before he had become a Chief Minister of Gujarat. He was the one who was there in Kargil amongst the dead bodies, as he has said, And if you listen to his speeches of those years, most of them are delivered in Gujarati, but if you listen to them, it will be very easy to understand. He's very categorical in saying that. We cannot afford to lose even one. Israel loses one man in Houthi bombing and they go and bombast the Houthis. Here, in last few months, we have lost quite a few men in Jammu. What are we doing for that? I am not crying for blood. But what I'm saying is, we have to have our systems in place. There is a border called international border where there is no restriction. And I don't see they cannot come in now, right now. But they could go in from international border. And unless you make them pay a heavy price, these parties are not going to understand. And that Kargil, when we talk of Kargil Vijay Diwas, we celebrate it. But what about those 539 families? What about those, when you were just giving some examples, a man without all the limbs. He was happy because the Tiger Hill was taken back. Now when you have such men, we are never going to lose. But at the same time, we have to take care of them. And for that, what are we doing is a question. And there are some pertinent ones. And the best thing about that is, don't trust parties. Even for Indians, as Jaishankarji said once, smell the coffee. It's time to smell the coffee on the Kargil Vijay Diwas.
All right. General Bansal, obviously politics is not in an area where a soldier or a former soldier needs to commentate on. But does it become demotivating and disheartening, at times when politicization of sensitive events, takes center stage and becomes headlines instead of that actual event itself?
Definitely it is demoralization, and they should not do politics introducing our army or our military is totally apolitical. In one of your channel, I told also, they were saying that there is this army for Punjab, from Rajasthan, from this place and that place. I told them the army is only one. Don't politicize army. And we have in the army every caste, creed. We don't have any differentiation. Everybody is same. Now it is a trend among the political parties to politicize military. It is not correct. It is not good for anybody. Not for the nation, not for the party, not for anyone, not for military also. Politics should be away. What is to be done is, actually these channels, I wish that all the political people who are in power, or all the politicians as well as the senior military officers, they must listen to your channel, where everything is brought up in a very transparent manner. And because, being in service, one cannot even point out certain things. But if we people who are now out of service, we can tell the truth and what is correct. And that correct thing should be taken in a correct spirit. So this is very, very important that everything has to be done in a very good manner, as has been told by Brigadier Jawans, that without acclimatization, the proof was sent. It is not correct, because there's the oxygen is less, one will have the pulmonary edema, there will be the problem, of course. But I would like to mention about the unsung hero also in your channel about Kargil War. Unsung hero were all medical officers, paramedical staff, nursing officer, nursing assistant, ambulance assistant, operation room, theatre. One doctor, Dr. Major Basu, he did surgery for 300 people. They were working day and night. Even after getting a splinter injury, they did not move from there. And they have shown courage. At the same time, during war, all the soldiers who are fighting, they get frightened when their comrades are dying, they got demoralized. The army, medical corps, or the doctors, they keep up their morale, strength, right, and there are the psychosocial problem that is.
You're absolutely right, sir.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.